This conference will now be recorded.
Okay guys, let us start the day today's session. So in the yesterday's class, we have seen about the introduction to modules. I mean, we have seen what is a module, how do we create a modules, and how do we scan them or identify the controls in the application. That is what we have seen in the yesterday's class. So we have got the overview and brief idea of what is a module, why we need to create, and from this is the starting point to start our automation. So what we are going to do is, so we knew how do we create a module and we have created one sample module. So today we are going to learn more about the modules as there are different identification methods. So whatever the concept that I'm telling you today is also important from interview point of view as well as from the practical usage point of view. So this is the topic. What are the different identification methods? So they might ask you an interview, what are the different identification methods available in the modules? How do you scan with the different identification methods? What are the different identification methods available in TOSCA? So it is up to their convenience. So they can ask you any question based upon this. So in order to explain how many type of identification methods we have, so basically I'm just trying to write down over here. We have identify by properties. Second one is identify by anchor. Third one is identify by index. Fourth one is identify by image. So these are the four different identification methods which are available when you are planning to or when you're trying to create a module or when you are scanning the application. So yesterday we have seen how do we create a module? By scanning the application, we are creating a module. So we are using the X scan in order to create a module. So what are these identify by different identification methods and when these identification methods will be useful? We will see all that in the today's class. So let us discuss one after the other. So first one is identify by properties. So basically, if I want to explain or give some introduction about the identify by properties, so what I would say is basically by using these properties, 85 to 90% of the controls identification will be done by properties itself, right? So the most important point we need to remember, and whatever the order, please also do not change the order that I have written. So even if someone asks you what are the different identification methods, you need to say this order itself. Or if someone asks you what are the best practices and what is the hierarchy of the identification methods, always the identification by properties comes first because it is of the top priority by default. I would say by default, TOSCA uses properties identification method while scanning the application. So when we are scanning the application and when we are trying to identify the controls there, TOSCA by default uses this properties identification method. And with this properties identification method, almost 85 to 90% of the scanning of the application, I mean the controls will be completed with this properties identification method. Then how do we need to scan again? How do you need to identify the properties? What are the different properties and what are the best practices in this is, let us see now one after the other. So now what I will do is I shall just go back to this browser and I'll open our demo web shop. This is the application. This is the demo webshop.tricentis.com is the application which we are using to automate it, as we all knew. Then what I'm doing is I have opened this application and I'm just opening this project. So batch 14th is the project which I have created. So I'm just opening this my project. So it takes time to load the project. So let it open. So once the project gets opened, again we will be going back to the modules, and then we will be scanning a new module, and I will be showing you what are the properties available and how come these properties will be used and all these things, right? So now what I will be doing is, so this is the modules folder, right, which we have created yesterday. Demo webshop modules is the folder which we have created yesterday, and I created one sample module. Again, I will try to recreate the same module, but I will tell you with the properties. So how do I do this is, just give a right click. Wherever you want to create a module, just give a right click. You can see an option called scan. Scan the application. So if you just click on scan the application, now you can see the agent is starting and the X scan is starting. See, starting the X scan. So X scan is used in order to scan the application, right? In order to create a module, you can see the X scan window got opened. Now we are trying to discuss the same thing what we have discussed in yesterday's class, right? It is nothing new. I'm just here. Tosca will be displaying all the windows which are opened in my machine, and out of that, what is the application that I want to scan? This is the application demo web shop Google Chrome. I have selected this. You can see, how can you say that it is selected? It is just highlighted in a gray color. So I've selected this, and I'm going to click on this scan. So now when you see, once I click on scan, as already we knew yesterday, we have added the TOSCA automation extension for Chrome. So once that is added, now TOSCA will try to load all the controls which are present in the application, and it will be trying to display in front of us. Now what I will be doing, I will just try to identify few controls. So the same thing, yesterday we have seen this, right? All the different options which are available in the ribbon bar. We knew what is the importance of each and everything. We just had some brief idea of what is what here in the ribbon bar. Now what we will be doing is, I will be just clicking this select on screen. Once I click this select on screen, what happens is I can go onto my screen in the application, and I can select any control whatever I want. See, I want to identify this register. I identified. I want to identify this login. I want to identify this shopping cart. I want to identify this wish list, this text box, and then this search button. Means I have identified. Means even yesterday I have tried to create the same module with the same controls. Today also I tried to recreate. I created one more module with the same controls. Now, as I told you, once you finished this scanning, I mean identification of controls in the application, then you just need to click on this, disable this. Now you will be coming back to the normal position. What I'm trying to do is, I'm just trying to expand it to my left hand side. So now can you see, as I told you, by default, yesterday I have only showed you how to create a module. But in addition to this, there are some properties, right? Can you see here, identify by properties. So identify by properties. See, by default, you have not selected any identification method. So that is what I'm saying. 85 to 90% of the identification of controls will be done by the properties itself, and by default TOSCA uses this identification by properties. In this identify by properties, you can ask me, Mother, what are the different properties we have? Steering parameters, representation parameters, and technical parameters. Sometimes you also get the transition parameters. I'll show you. See, these are the three different properties: representation properties, technical properties, and transition properties. Now you can ask me a question, Madhav, you are saying identify by properties. What are the properties available? The properties available are representation properties, technical properties, and transition properties. So these are the three different kind of properties which are available for each and every control. I mean, for each and every control, you can see these properties. Now, what are these properties? Why I need to use them is, can you see, even you have not done anything, means you just identified this register control on the screen, but automatically this Tosca used properties, and it, can you see here, it has checked two controls here, two options here, inner text and tag. Means the way the HTML developers have developed this application means you can see here. Before going to that point, now I'll tell you one more point. Please do not use this representation properties and transition properties. The main reason is because this representation properties means it will only be useful for representation or the visualization at which coordinates it is present, what is the default name, what is the x coordinate, y coordinate in the application. They might change at any point of time in the application, right? So this representation properties will not be stable for longer period of time. So you do not need to use this representation properties. And again, you do not need to use this transition properties because the name itself is saying that it is a transition. What do you mean by transition? Basically means which is in movement, which is in changing. So you should not identify any control with any property which is going to change in the future. So you should not use this representation properties and the transition properties. Then you can ask me what properties should I use. If you see the definition yesterday which I told, module is a group or collection of attributes which contains the technical information, correct? Now what is this technical means? You need to identify all the controls with the technical properties. So what are the technical properties available here will be displayed for each and every control. So in this, when you are trying to see what are the different technical properties, class name, href means link, h reference. H reference is called as a link. ID, inner HTML, inner text, outer text tag. These are the different properties available for this register. Again, if you click on this login, you would see the different technical properties for login. And again, shopping cart, different technical properties. Can you see? Whenever I have identified any control, automatically can you see here two checkboxes were scanned. Two checkboxes were already taken into consideration and they have been tick marked. Right? Now, I need to tell you here two questions, two answers. From where you have got these technical properties? As I showed you yesterday, this is the application which I am using, right? I'm just giving a right click and I'm going to the view page source. Means I'm just trying to view the source code. I'm going to see the code or scripting of this application. Can you see here? Name, title, href, ID, class, you can see here class, href, title, uh, ID, so many things were there here. Inner text, outer text also would be there somewhere. So from here you have got these properties. So if you can see in this, see class name, href, ID, tag, title. These are the properties that TOSCA has scanned and it is trying to present in front of you in the XScan application. Means whatever the application that you are trying to scan, TOSCA will automatically identify each and every technical information for this particular control and it will try to show you in front of you. These are the terminologies that the HTML developers have used, right? There is no need to confuse and learn about these things, something new. What are the different kinds of properties we have? We have class name, ID, inner text, outer text, title, something name. So all these things, inner HTML, outer HTML, and href. Basically, these are the different kind of properties, classification of properties that are available when you are trying to identify a control. But here, can you see this is a register control, and what are the tech? As I already told you, please be very attentive. Whenever you are creating a module and identifying a control, you need to see what does this control contains of. I mean, what technical information this consists of. See now, inner text and tag has been used by default by TOSCA. What if I remove this? Are you able to understand? By default, TOSCA selected two properties. If I do not like those, What if I uncheck this? Can you see now this register control has turned out into an orange color, saying that, can you see at the bottom left side corner of my screen, a message is being displayed saying that one item is not unique. Means the selected item is not unique. The simple example I am trying to give you. For example, uh, everyone knew that my name is Mother. Fine. So even for our human beings also, we have many technical properties like I have a name, I have my age, I have my gender classification, right? Date of birth, Aadhaar card, PAN card, passport, driving license, address, gas bill, electricity bill. Means someone can identify me with any of these properties, right? If these properties are given to anyone, anyone can identify. Means specifically I am calling, if I give my address, then you can directly reach out to me. Means based upon the property, what is the property you have used? Address here. Means you are trying to find out my address which I have given. But if I say only my name called Madhav, and if I ask you to come to my home or to come to my place, will you be able to come to my home? You will be asking the first point, where is the location, what is the address, and without which you can't even come. It is the same for each and every person. So the same kind of situation is also happening in the TOSCA controls. So this is all one of the control. So this control has all these properties. These are the different properties which you are seeing. So you need to have any property. I mean, you need to select any property for its identification. Without selecting that property for identification, that what will happen? Tosca is saying that I am unable to find that control in the application. That is not unique. Correct, right? Even if you do not give my address, and if I have asked you people to come to my home, and you only have my name, you will how many people will find my address? No one will find. And how many people you will be keeping on asking, do you know the address of Mother? There will be many persons with the name Mother, right? So it's the same thing. That's what Tosca is saying, that boss, you have tried to identify me, but you have not registered or you did not selected any particular or a proper controls or a properties. That is what I am unable to identify where this register control is there in the application. I'm unable to identify it, and it is not unique. I'm getting confused. That is what Tosca is saying. So our main intention when we are trying to create a module by scanning the controls is to make sure that the item is or control is unique. Like see here, the another controls are everything is unique. See, selected item is unique. This is unique. So you need to make sure that each and every control that you are trying to create is unique, right? So how do you make sure that is by selecting any of the properties which are available. I will be making sure that this particular item or a control is unique. Now can you see this register is there? Now you can ask me, Madhav, by default Tosca used earlier inner text and tag. So is it mandatory that I should use only that? No, it is not mandatory. Just remove. So I'll just select class name. That's what I told you. I am a person who is having different identification methods, right? Someone can approach me either by an Aadhaar card or a passport or a driving license or a electricity bill or some other address which I have given. Means I have a different kind of properties. So someone can approach me either with any of the property, right? Someone can call me on WhatsApp, someone can call me on Skype, someone can call me on my normal mobile number. Means it is up to their convenience and what they have showed they will be trying to reach out to me. In a similar way, even for this register control, there are different kind of properties. You can use any of the property in order to identify, but you can use anything, but you need to make sure that the item is becoming unique. Can you see now? I have used class name as a property. By register control has become unique. My job is done, right? I want to use ID, but is there any ID here? Sometimes, see, there is a property called ID, but there is no value. Even if I use, it won't become unique because there is no value to identify uniquely. So you can use inner text. Can you see it has become unique? You can use outer text. You can see it has become unique. You can use tag and class name. So, and one more point, it is not only mandatory that you should use only one. It is not mandatory that only one should be used. or two should be used. I can select multiple properties also. See here, outer text, inner text, class name, tag. Means I can select any of the properties which are available, but at last, my intention is to make this as a unique. If it is becoming unique, and I do not have any problem. So the similar way for all the controls. See inner text and tag. I'll just select class name and I'll just select outer text. I'll remove this. Even the same for shopping cart. I'll just select outer text. I'll remove the inner text. I'll just use the class name and I'll remove this tag. It is my convenience. So I can just use why I am selecting this is you'll come to know at the last. So that's there for wish list, class name, outer text. I'm just removing this inner text, this text box. Can you see this Q is a checkbox? This having some other properties, class name. This is having ID. Can you see? All the other controls earlier that do not have an ID, but this property has, this control has some property called ID. So you can use this, and this is a search button. You can see search button class name. So now it is this process by making use of the properties, right? Understanding by default, TOSCA uses properties identification method. Without your right, without your intervention, also TOSCA by default uses some properties to identify the control. But you can also go back and check. You can also change them, modify them like how we have done now. You can do whatever you want when you are trying to create a module. So identification by properties is the top most highest priority in the identification methods. It always comes first. 85 to 90% of your identification becomes easy with these properties. And what else? By default, TOSCA uses this. What are the different kind of properties available basically? In the properties itself, you have some representation properties, technical properties, and transition properties. Always you need to think about and create a module with only the technical properties, because these technical properties are more stable enough when compared to representation and transition. And what are the different kind of classification of properties available, which you have seen? You have a class name, id, inner text, outer text, title, name. Some they will also ask you an interview, what is the best practices that you have followed when you are identifying a controls in the application? You need to say the hierarchy. You need to say first I will go with properties, then anchor, index, and image. And even in the properties, I will try to use this class name and all. You need to say, I will try to use this class name, ID, inner text, and outer text. These are the best practices. Can you see, even when you are identifying a control with the properties, you need to make sure that you use mostly class name, ID, inner text, outer text, title, and name. These are the more best practices, means these are the best suitable things. Right? Are you getting my point? There might be many classification of properties, but the best practices is you need to make sure that you identify a control mostly with class name, ID, outer text, title. The inner text is also the least preferred. Why? Because now you can ask me, Madhav, why are you saying that this inner text is least preferred? Now can you see this is an application, right? So what is an inner text and what is an outer text? Outer text means the text which you are able to see in front of you. Register is called as an outer text. Correct? For example, that is what I am saying. So if you select any control with an outer text, so it will be visible to you. So if it is, the probability of changing outer text is very less chances. So it will be stable, right? But for assumption, let us consider that the developers are working something in the back end and they have changed the inner text of register, right? Outer text is register. You will be able to see register in front of you. But if they change the inner text inside the application, I mean in back end of this application, what you can do? You can't do anything. So that is what I am telling is class name, ID, outer text and title, and then comes the inner text. We need to never use inner text at the starting because inner text is prone to change. Means there might be a chance that they might change something in the backend for any particular control. When such kind of things are happening, then what happens? Obviously, my control will not be identified uniquely. Correct, right? So, for example, if I'm staying in a rented house and I changed all my address proofs to my rented house, so how many years will I be staying in my rented house? Probably a year, 2 years, or 3 years, or till the time the owner asks me to vacate, I will be staying there. Once he asks what I need to do, I need to shift my place to some other place. At that point of time, what you need to do? You can't do anything, right? No one can identify my address because I used to live in a rented house as a tenant and I have changed all my address proofs. Now no one can identify. That is what, even in that kind of situation, you need to identify what is the best thing to approach me, even if I'm staying in a rented house. So you can approach me via an PAN card because PAN card doesn't have any address containing there, right? You can approach basically by a phone number. So like this also, even for your properties, when there are some properties like class name, ID, inner text, and outer text, you need to decide which has the highest priority, which has got the lowest priority, and which is prone to change. So, based upon this kind of circumstances, we will try to identify the controls and create a module basically with this kind of properties. So, now what I'm just trying to do, so we have discussed all these different kind of properties available and we have made sure that each and every control is unique. At last, you need to see the selected item is unique. Everything should be unique. Nothing should be in orange color. So, I'm just saving this. So as soon as I save this, you can see a message at the bottom right side corner saying that a module with name has been saved and created. So my module has been created with these controls which I have scanned. So I'm just closing this scan window. Now what I will be doing is, now can you see a new module has been created. Now what is the module that I have created? So as I told you yesterday, a new module has been created. Register, login, shopping cart, wishlist, queue, and search. Right? Why the name of the module is given as demo webshop? Because the title of the application. What is the title of the application? The title of the application is demo webshop means in which page you have identified the controls means I have identified this register, login, text box and search button in this page and this page has got which title? This has got title of demo webshop means whenever you create a module and in which page you have created that title of the page will be used as a name of the module. Now, yesterday also I created a same module with demo webshop, same controls. Today also same module. But see now, right now you just have only two modules so that you will not be confused. But in a real time, when you are creating modules and if the modules are created with the same name, how do you differentiate in future? It becomes easy, right? It becomes difficult, right? You can't be able to identify what module you have scanned, when you have scanned, and what module contains what, you won't be able to identify. So, the best option is, the best and good practice is whenever you create a module, immediately change the name of the module. So, what is the name of the module that you want to change? See here, this is the demo web shop. I'm just changing it, giving a pipe symbol, identity, identify by. See now, so I have just done a simple task. Means I have just tried to identify and rename the name of a module to a proper naming convention. So if I do a proper naming convention, so what will happen? I will be able to easily identify what is the module and okay, I have scanned this module. This contains this. This contains this controls. Like see here, demo web shop pipe symbol. I'll just give register hyphen login. So now see here, when I give a name of the module as demo webshop hyphen pipe symbol register login, even after 1 month, if I see these modules, I will be easily able to understand, okay, this is the module which I have created for register and login. Okay, it is already there. I will open this and see what are the controls. Okay, I got this register, login, shopping cart, wishlist, queue and search. Okay, so by seeing the name of a module, you will be able to understand easily that why you have created this module and when you have created this. And one more important point that I forgot to tell you yesterday, whenever you create a module, automatically TOSCA will create you an image of the module. Can you see there is an image automatically created? So just I will want to double click on that to show you the image. Means why Tosca has taken an image is in future after 3 months or 6 months when you are coming back to the module to check where you have created the module, you can check, right? See, it has taken a screenshot of the page. I mean, where exactly you have identified this register, login, shopping cart, and wish list, this text box and search button, and which title of the application you have scanned. Tosca will try to display all the things with the help of a screenshot which is taken, so that you will not be confused in future. Okay, you have taken a screenshot here. Okay, in this page, in this title, so it becomes as a reference, right? So this is the thing. Now yesterday I told you, now you can ask me a question, Madhav, we have created a module and that too with properties. Where are the properties listed here? See here. These are the properties. This is the arrow mark. Right side you have an arrow mark here. You can just click on this. You will be able to get the properties. Can you see what is the title of the page? Demo workshop, right? See, for each and every control, see, these are the properties for register. I clicked on register. These are the properties for register. What are the properties means you can see here what I have used. Now see, I'll show you. I have used class name, inner text, outer text, tag in order to identify this register. In the same case for login button, what I have used, class name and outer text I have used for login. In the same case for shopping cart, shopping cart, what are the properties that I have used? Class name, outer text. Means whatever the properties that you have selected while creating a module in the XScan window, those properties will be captured and it will be stored in the module when you have created that. You can see here for the wish list also class name, outer text and tag. The same for search button also. There are many properties. Out of these are the technical properties which you are seeing in the sky blue color at the last what we have identified. Then you can also ask me, these are the properties, right? You can also ask me, Madhav, what are these another things, right? See here for each and every control. For each and every control, you will have one node path. Node path means the exact path where it is present. Can you see here? It is present in a modules. Under modules, there is a folder called demo webshop modules. And under that, you have this demo webshop hyphen identify by properties. And inside that, you are viewing this register. Means this is the path. So now, what I'll do is, I'll give you a small example here. So you assume that you have started working in a company. So someone in the team has asked you, can you please check that module? And they told you the name of a module. Now you have 200 modules or 300 modules in your project. Simple logic. Now you have only two modules. You can just go and check. If I say to please check this module, you will go and directly straight away check these two modules which are present. But consider in your project there are some 200 to 300 modules already created. And in that created, how difficult it becomes for everyone to go and search for each and every module. So what you can ask is, when someone asks you, can you please check this? Please ask them the node path. They will give you the node path. They will just give this. You copy the node path what they have given. There is an option called object. There is an option called object. So you can just paste whatever they have given and just click on OK. Means now see, directly it has come and clicked on this. Okay, consider that even I'm in some other folder. I'm just clicking on this object. I'm just pasting whatever they have given. I'm clicking on OK. Can you see? Directly we have come here and it has got deleted. So it becomes easy for searching also. right? Please remember, when in the real time when someone asks you to check on something, if you want to give something, or it is up to you also, if you want to share something that it is not working, you ask your team member, boss, that is, this is not working, can you please guide me? If you ask, can you please share me the node path, then you should know what is node path, where that will be present, so you can share like that. And you can see created by it. In the real time it will show your username, who has created this and when I have created. Can you see here, this module I have created on December 1st at 7:34. Till now I have not modified. If you modify something, it will also show you who has modified and at what time he has modified. So it is not that easy if you change something and delete something in the real time, right? And sometimes they can ask you either a node path or an unique ID. They can ask any of the things. You can also ask, see, same thing. Like you can copy the unique ID, go here, click on this object, paste this unique ID, click on OK. See, again you have come to the same position. Means you can use either unique ID or node path if you want to search any module or a controller, whatever it might be in TOSCA. And this is the option object which is used in order to identify and go to respective location. And in the real time, they can also give you some access. Owning group name and viewing group name means, if they want to give you only the read access, means you will not be able to edit or create new things. You will be having only the access to view. That's it. If they feel that this is a very critical thing and they doesn't want anyone to change, what they will do basically is they will just give you a view access, right? And who they will give the owning group means they will be having all the access, read access, write access, edit access on all these things. Everything will be given. And can you see, interface type means GUI means on which interface you have scanned the application. It is a graphical user interface, means the user is able to look and feel the applic. I mean, you are able to feel the interface of the application, right? I mean, you are able to see it clearly. So this kind of interface is called as graphical user interface. So it is an HTML application. Business type is HTML application. And as I told you, right, there is no need to build any framework. Tosca has got inbuilt automation framework, T-box automation framework they have used. You can also see engine as HTML. So what is the title? So it will try to show you each and every property, what does it contains, right? This is, so basically you just need to identify for each and every module what you have created, it contains some technical properties for each and every property what you have identified. And with what you have identified and created a module, and you have everything, node path, unique ID, and all these things, right? You can see here default data type, it is a string, action mode is input, user interface, engine is HTML, and what properties you have used, class name, the text ID, outer text. So different kind of things, right? Is it clear for everyone about this identification by properties, that how do we need to, simple thing, whatever I have created yesterday, even yesterday also I created the same module, but I haven't explained anything. Today I recreated, again I created the same module, the same things, but I told the image screenshot also, and what are this screenshot, I mean screenshot along with what are the properties that you identify, what are the different options available, and how come you can select the properties in the XScan window. Is it clear for everyone?
Uh,
Yes, sir.
sir,
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.